But we had an issue with that like in the
I
past.
watched your last one, and
Yeah, the
I only
audio
saw it was the
sucks.
audio from the camera.
Yeah, I know.
No, if I couldn't listen, I listened to the first 10 minutes. I was like, I can't even hear these people.
No, I know. It was terrible. I spent like 2.5 hours trying to just learn about audio shit and see if
Hmm.
there was like a way to fix everything. Couldn't do it. It was horrible.
Yeah,
I hated it.
I mean,
It was such a fun podcast too.
respect, because I don't know, like, this is all like Greek to me. I'd like to, honestly, I'd like to start one, but I just like
What stops you?
technical ability.
What do you mean? You got AI, dude.
No, I mean, I don't have the hardware. Like,
But
I don't know what hardware I need. Like, I don't even know where to start.
yeah, there's AI. You just ask it. You just ask it anything, man. How do you feel about AI?
I'm not an AI guy. I
No.
mean, I think it's basically the only use that I see for it is it's basically a search engine
Yeah.
for me. Like, that's the only like use I can see for it.
Which one do you use?
I don't use AI.
You don't use it at all?
The only AI I use is like the AI I'm forced to use when I use Google, you know? Because you know how
Because
there's
it's like the Google Gemini is built into it.
well, yeah, like every time you search on Google, it'll like the first result is going to be an AI generated result.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I ever use it is like, I mean, I'll look at it, but typically I'll skim it and see, but 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to look at the first or second search result and just like, because I know it's wrong. Like, it's wrong a lot.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's not wrong all the time, and it's not like completely useless, but it's just I have to verify everything that it says. And it's like, why, like, the time it takes me to verify, I could just go to the original source. You know what I mean?
But so then if you're not using AI, you're just using Google. How do you know Google's not also just as bad? Like just an average search engine. Like how do you know that it's accurate?
Well, because it's aggregating websites. So Google isn't wrong or right. It's just producing results.
Right.
And then you look at the results, and then you have to judge the result. You have to look at the results, say, okay, this website, whatever, you read it, maybe you cross reference it with something else.
Yeah.
You look at who wrote it, you look at their background, see if they're trustworthy. I mean,
What kind of shit are you looking up?
whatever. I mean, anything, literally anything. I mean, literally anything. But I don't know. The thing with AI for me is like, I just don't think that the benefit is I don't think that the benefit is worth what it costs us to produce it. Like, the amount of compute, the amount of water, what it's going to do to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's going to be worth it.
You said the amount of water?
Yeah, dude, every time you use, like, every time you generate something with AI, it uses, like, I don't know exactly, but it's like a gallon of water or something like that.
Really?
Well, because you got to cool all
'Cause
those
it's all water
GPUs.
cooled?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what the fuck?
All those data centers.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like every time, you want to make some type of like Sora shit post, it's going to use it's just going to use a bunch of energy, and it's going to use a bunch of water for what? Like, for your shit post, on
That's a
Instagram
good point.
or whatever. And it's like, and then you throw in like the whole thing with, you're clear cutting, and it's just like any of this development, out in Florida is like, you're clear cutting out and you're building shit. And is that worth it? I mean, you're destroying the environment to build what?
So you're against all of the development that's going on in Florida?
Yeah, for the most part. Okay, no. I'm not against development. I'm against the way that the development occurs.
What do you mean by that?
I'm against the cookie cutter. I'm against the D.H. Horton. I'm against the Lennox or Lennar.
Yeah.
I'm against the Taylor Morrison.
Just
I'm
the
against
mass
the Pulte.
development. Yeah.
I'm against, because I've seen like I see how these houses are put together, and it's garbage.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
just
shit.
it's garbage, and I just think that that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I feel like we've completely moved away from a place where everything has any kind of originality or like quality structure to it, and it's just all like how much money can we make in it following this footprint, and it's just
how much can we extract?
yeah, none of this stuff is going to freaking exist in 30, 40 years like
Well, the way I see it is like, um, the way I see it is that like land is precious.
mhm.
Like every square acre is precious, and so you want to use it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And I think that building shit on land anywhere, no matter whether it's in Florida or anywhere, I think that's a bad move because because eventually you're going to need that for something else
Yeah.
that's, more important or whatever. And I hate it too because especially in Florida, because you're building all these developments when there's plenty of supply. I mean, there's plenty of homes. It's just that people can't really afford the homes that they want, so they have to buy these shitty houses in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I did.
And so then you're put in a position where you have all of these you have all these like condos. Like up north, they're building this giant condo. Like it's the it'll be a hint. It's not gonna dox you. It's the biggest, it's the tallest building on the west coast of Florida. And the tragedy, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful development. But the tragedy of it is that, half of those units are gonna sit empty for 8 months out of the year.
Oh, because it's all going to be like
Well, it's gonna be a
bullshit?
snowbird.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like these snowbirds that come from, October to the end of February, the end of March, and then they're going to go back to wherever, they're going to go back to Colorado or North Carolina or wherever
Right.
for the rest of the year. And then you have like other people who are, I feel like I sound like a communist or something, but you know what I mean? But it's just like tragic that that's how it works, right? Like, is that like the people who live here all the time just have to live in, either rent or they have to live in a, cookie cutter home.
Yeah.
And then to compound on that, especially in Florida, can I say that? Florida.
Sure.
We
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
I mean,
Florida.
you've been saying
We're in
Florida,
Florida.
like,
We're in
we're
Florida.
in Florida.
We're in Florida.
Well,
The tragedy of that in Florida is that Florida used to be like a big, and still kind of is, a big agriculture state. We used to produce a lot of food.
mm-hmm.
And the beauty of Florida is that you can graze cattle year round.
Yeah.
So you don't have to actually use feed. You don't have to buy feed. If you properly rotate, you don't have to buy feed, which is huge.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a
that would
huge
save you a ton
expense.
of money.
Exactly. But, instead of, creating more cattle ranches or orange groves or
Yeah.
whatever, we're building development. And it's like, is that really the best use of this precious land that we
Fuck
have?
no.
Yeah.
And okay, so then what do we do? How do we fix that? I mean, you can't really tell people that they can't, buy a house here and then snowbird because, what if you were one of those people that
Of course.
say you had a house in like Utah and you wanted to go live there during the summertime?
Mhm.
Like once you hit that echelon of, of financial freedom,
Mhm.
you probably will want to do something similar. But
Yeah.
how do you limit that? Or is there a way to limit that? Or what's the solution? What would you say?
I don't think I don't really believe in like solutions. Like I think everything is kind of like a trade-off
Okay,
for the
Thomas
most
Sowell.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because it's never like simple. It's
Yeah.
never like, oh yeah, this is how you solve this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of it has to do with just like incentives, whether that be government or just in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a specific policy proposal, but I think making it a little harder for developers and maybe a little bit easier for farmers
Mhm.
somehow or another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? maybe
less difficult on farmers.
yeah, making it easier for them to start doing their stuff. Like I always talk about, I harp on it all the time with everybody I talk to about this kind of stuff. Is like the farm bill that we pass. It's like I think it's every like I want to say it's every 4 or 8 years we have to pass another farm bill, and it's it's a huge bill. It's it's like EBT SNAP. That's part of the farm bill. But there's like 13 parts of it. And a lot of it, a lot of the money, I mean, 50% of it, if not more, goes to SNAP and EBT and that sort of stuff. But then the rest of it goes to subsidizing commodity crops. So like corn, soy, and wheat.
Okay.
I think cotton maybe too. And then like way, way down on the list is what's called specialty foods. Specialty foods.
Sure.
But that's basically specialty foods are basically anything that's not a commodity. So like tomatoes, beef,
Right.
lettuce. That's considered like a specialty crop,
That's kind of dumb.
right? Like that's just food.
Yeah.
Like that's just
Real
regular
food.
real food, right?
Right.
Basically whole foods are considered a specialty food product, at least in the farm bill, right? And it's the amount of funding that and this is I don't know the numbers, but it's a the money is huge. Like there's a lot of money that goes into it because basically it's kind of hard to explain. It would take a long time to explain it, but the government has an interest. Agriculture and government are always going to be intertwined because the government has an interest in it's a national security issue to make sure that you are producing enough food within your borders
to sustain your population.
Yeah,
because
it's like you don't want to be cut off by some country and then your population starve. That's an issue, right?
Yeah.
Like you always want to be able to have enough food in your country to where everybody can stay fed.
Well, then why do we keep infringing on farmers though? Because I feel like this is not just an issue that's isolated to Florida. I feel like this is a nationwide issue where farmers don't get enough support. At least like small farmers and stuff. I feel like
all
large
farmers,
corporations.
So
I'm not very educated.
No. So farmers are supported, but the thing about it is that they're supported to do things that are not good. So they're supported. So we pay so farmers in the Midwest, they're paid to produce commodities at a loss. So they grow, like my family, like one side of my family they're all from like North Dakota, like North and South Dakota, and they're sugar beet farmers. Some of them do soybeans, some of them do sugar beets. Corn is more south, but it's sugar beets and anyways. So basically they are paid by the government to grow what they grow, right? Like they don't sell it into like a free market like any other normal product. They're paid by the government to produce this, and then it goes to co-op, and then it's sold to processors that turn it into Oreos and cookies and crackers and whatever.
Right.
And to go back to what you were saying, like what's the solution, right? Is that like what you would have to do is that you'd have to stop paying farmers to produce these commodities that make us all fat and unhealthy and whatever. You would have to pay farmers to produce specialty crops, quote unquote specialty crops.
Yeah.
Like instead of subsidizing corn, let's subsidize beef.
Yeah.
Right. Or like let's subsidize tomatoes or fruits and vegetables.
Doesn't like most of our beef come from Brazil and other parts of the world now?
I couldn't say, but I have heard about that. There was like a big scandal about beef that was coming in from like Argentina and Brazil, and it being labeled as produced in the U.S. Um, just because it had been processed in the U.S.
Yeah.
So there was like a loophole where basically you could get a side of beef from Brazil or wherever, and you could process it. You know, Tyson or whatever can process it in their facility
Mm-hmm.
and then label it as a product of the U.S. because it was processed in the U.S.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
That sucks, right?
Yeah.
It's terrible. And then that undercuts. I mean, that undercuts American ranchers because now they're getting all this cheap, this cheap commodity fed, corn. They feed them soy basically is what they feed them. And there's a whole debate on like grass fed beef versus grain fed beef.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, it's tough because like nobody wants to talk about that because
I
it's
want to.
boring. Well, yeah, but and that's what that's what's like upsetting is like. So I was really excited about RFK because I thought he was going to do a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying he's not. I'm liking what he's doing. I think he's doing some good things. I love that food pyramid thing that he did.
Yeah,
that was really cool. The vaccine stuff was really cool. But I just hoped for a little bit more aggressive action from him.
You don't think he's moving fast enough or doing enough, or
I just don't think he's out there enough.
yeah,
I don't think he's using his platform well enough. Like he needs to be out like pounding this stuff.
Yeah,
constantly.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, because I originally wasn't going to vote for Trump. I originally was lobbying very hard for RFK.
100%.
Because I'm really getting sick and tired of the two-party system, and I thought RFK was a fantastic option for a real shot at a third-party opportunity.
And the funny part was like that he wasn't even really a third party. Like he went through the DNC.
Yeah.
Like he went through that whole thing, and it was so blatant how they were just trying to ice him out,
dude,
and attack him. And like if he hadn't dropped out and joined up with Trump, then I would have voted for him for sure.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank with you, the only reason I voted for Trump was because of that.
Same.
That was why. Because I wanted him in there. Because I liked him and I wanted RFK in there.
Did he I can't remember. Did he drop out? No, it would have been he came after the Butler shooting. He then went over.
I'm not sure the time. I'm not sure the exact timeline. But it was kind of late. I mean, it was kind of late. Like it was close to the election. I mean, he had a real thing going there like for a while. But I think that they started. I mean, I think it happens every year with the third party. Is like they start getting real worried that you're gonna start taking votes away from, one or the other, and then the rationale is always like, oh well, you're never gonna win. And you're just going to take votes away from this guy or this guy,
Sure, maybe, but the only way you're going to figure that out is if people start voting for it for real. Because like in 2020, I think, was the first time that we had like a real third party that they actually got like 1% of the vote.
No, it would have been Ross Perot.
Was it Ross Perot?
The first like real challenge. And that was, I think that was Bush v. Gore. I want to say it was when Ross was running, and that ended up being part of the reason that Bush won again. I think.
Because a bunch of people voted.
Because a bunch of people. Because Ross Perot was saying some really, really awesome stuff. I mean, he was kind of like. He was like Massey-esque, like with the whole like smart fiscal policy and like, he coined the term like the great sucking sound. He went on Fox and said that. He was basically talking about NAFTA, and how like we were outsourcing all of our core industry to like Mexico and Canada and China, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it still reigns true. I mean, it's still true, and we're seeing the consequences now with our inability to make anything here anymore. Our whole economy is being propped up by AI. Like that's that whole freaking NASDAQ is propped up by AI and AI stocks and all the hype around it and like finance. which is just, it's nothing. It's just numbers.
Yeah.
We don't like we don't make enough here anymore, and a lot of it was just because of horrible trade policy by the Clinton administration, and even it's both sides, right? Like it's not just one side that's doing it. But yeah, I mean it's a tragedy, but I'm honestly, dude, if it's I'm not voting for JD Vance. I'm not doing it. I won't. I won't. I won't.
All right, let's take a quick break and we're gonna come back on that.
1,000 subscribers. That's pretty good.
2,200, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, real quick before we jump back into JD Vance, what's your name again?
My name is Henry, and I'm just a guy.
Nah, thanks for joining me today, man. It's
Yeah, thanks for taking my podcast virginity.
No, yeah, I was excited to. Like from the second that I met you, I was like, this guy is fascinating. Like,
likewise, brother.
it's-
Likewise.
You don't meet people like you very often because you're young and you're very intelligent and very well read. And I don't know. Well, actually, that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you in today is because I wanted to ask you, how'd you get into this in the first place? Because you're not normal.
Nobody's normal.
Well,
Everybody's different. But yeah, I'd say like as far as like politics and stuff goes, and just like generally being, I've always been a curious person.
Mhm.
I've always like yearned for knowledge. But I never really like. I actually started like when I first got into politics was probably in high school. It's like probably freshman or sophomore year. When Trump came on the scene.
So 2015, 2016?
Yeah, maybe a little bit before that too. But I was deep in the culture war. I love Ben Shapiro, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
That video of him, like roasting that fat lady I don't even know what the context was, but like it was viral. It was like the facts don't care about your feelings sort of video. And he was just going crazy on this psycho fat lady she was like yelling like, get this hate speech out of our campus. Get this. People know what I'm talking about. People that paid attention at that point in time will know that. Anybody who knew Ben Shapiro at the time, he was famous for that video.
Think you can find that clip and send it to me?
Yeah, I will.
I'll put it up.
Remind me, please, and I will find it for you.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the start of it, and I was like I got really into that culture war stuff and like owning the libs sort of deal, and like I was very like right leaning, very kind of not even conservative, just like right leaning. Like I didn't even know what that even was. I was just ignorant, you know what I mean? I was just ignorant.
Sure.
I didn't know how things worked.
Got caught up in the hype.
Yeah, and then I got then I was like obviously I was super into Trump too. I couldn't vote, but I was super into Trump, and I went to a very like left-leaning high school, and like a lot of people at that school were really liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And when I remember vividly the day that he got elected, and like there were girls crying in the hallway.
No shit. In
like,
high school?
Yeah, dude. Like it was bad. Like people were freaking out. And it was almost this thing where like the more people and like I'm kind of a contrarian too, like by nature. And like so it was like the more like people were upset about it, the more like I kind of liked it. Like it like pushed me even further into that whole deal. And like that was kind of, but it was very shallow. Like my understanding of it was very shallow. And then basically then I went, I went through high school, and then I came into college, and I kind of followed things like on and off, and I kind of tuned out a little bit, and I got caught, you get caught up, and then COVID happened, and it was like all COVID stuff, and that was crazy. And I grabbed my second semester senior year was 2020.
No shit.
And so I didn't have a second semester senior year. We had to drive through graduation.
Wow.
Yep. Got my diploma in the parking lot of my high school. 6 feet apart. Like, I don't even know. I wonder if I could find that picture because like everybody got a picture, but they would hand you the diploma, or no, they wouldn't even hand it to you. You'd pick it up off a table, and then the principal was standing in the parking lot, and then you would stand 6 feet apart from them. You both had masks on, and then you would hold up your diploma, and you would and they would take a picture of us.
What?
It was weird.
Fuck?
I wish I could find. I don't even know if I could find the picture because it may have gotten lost and lost in the shuffle or whatever. But and it was everybody like that and whatever. So that was like my like last year, and that was just like crazy, and I was just like, we didn't know what was going on, and like the vaccine stuff, and just it was just a crazy, and then like all this it was just a crazy time. And then my first semester of college still was like COVID, and like I went to college in South Florida, and South Florida was particular, like West Palm to Miami, basically. They were very like strict about the COVID stuff.
Really?
Like they turned the water fountains off. There was no
Yeah.
public water fountains in South Florida. All the public water fountains in South Florida were turned off, so you couldn't use them. 6 feet, masks on all the time. No extracurriculars. So like I rushed a fraternity my first semester, and it was all off the books. Like it was all, we couldn't have any sanctioned events. Anything sanctioned would have had to have been on Zoom, or if it was in person, it was unsanctioned. You couldn't say it. Couldn't be like school couldn't know about it.
Yeah, it was just hush hush. That's weird.
Well, and that was crazy because like I had buddies that went to school, in like FSU and UF, which I later transferred to UF. We can get to that in a little bit, but when I would go and visit them, and it was like they didn't care. Like nobody cared up there because it was more like, I don't know, it was just more. They just didn't care. I mean, it was a big school, and like basically it was business as usual.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to wear a mask like in certain areas, like to class and stuff, but like the bars were still open. Like it was weird for me because I was like, oh wow, like when I would go up, like I'd go up for like a weekend, and I would be like, I would see people like hanging out on campus, like in the quad, like whatever, and I'd be like, wow, like it kind of feels like I'm actually at college. Because when I went back to my school, it was like desolate, nothing was going on.
Jeez.
And it was like, it almost didn't like even feel like I was at college. It was kind of like, well, like it was weird. Like, it was really weird. And that later the next year, my sophomore year, it got a little bit better. But it was horrible. I got written up for not wearing a mask. I was outside, and some lady, I had to write a letter to the dean of students apologizing for not wearing a mask I was outside. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. And then I got strep throat. Like that semester, and I went and I was down bad. Like I was sick as a dog, dude. And I didn't know where else. And they had a on-campus clinic or whatever. And I was like, I didn't know where to go. Like I didn't I couldn't even drive. I was messed up, dude. I was messed up. And so I was like, I just gotta go to the clinic. I gotta get some antibiotics. I gotta get something, right? I gotta get something.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't getting better either. It was like a week where I was like horribly sick. And because I had a sore throat, and that was one of the symptoms of COVID, even though I came back negative for COVID, they still they gave me two options. They were like, we can either put you in a quarantine dorm room for 2 weeks, which is like prison.
Yeah.
Which is like you can't leave
Solitary
this dorm room
confinement
for 2 weeks. Your food is delivered to you. You can't leave, or you can leave campus for 2 weeks. You can't be on campus. We're going to disable your student ID. Like you cannot be on campus for 2 weeks. And so I literally just slept. I was, I got the medicine that I needed. Luckily, right? Luckily, she was like, yeah, well, I'll give you some antibiotics and steroids. Literally 2 days later, I felt great. But I literally just had to, I was like drifting. I was just like sleeping on buddies' couches for 2 weeks because I
Jeez.
could not go back, and I had to sneak back into my dorm to get stuff. Like I had to like tell my roommate, like, "Hey man, like, can you let me in, like, so I can grab stuff?"
Bro.
It was wild, dude. It was wild. Um, but in the meantime, when I came in, I came in as a business management major just
Mhm.
because I didn't know what I wanted to major in. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
Um, and my first semester, as an elective, I took an intro to political science course, and I really loved it. I mean, I learned a lot. Like it was really cool, and I was looking into it, and I was like, wait, I can major in this, and I was like, wait, so I can like have this as major and like only take these classes? Sign me up,
Yeah.
right? Sign me up. So I changed majors, and then it was just kind of like the rest is history. And then I just dove in. I just dove in like way hard.
So what's your degree in then?
Political science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people shit on political science because it's like, oh, well, it's just like an easy major, like whatever. And that's true in a way. It's true in a way, but it's kind of like one of those degrees where it's like it is what you make it. Like if you can pass a poli-sci degree pretty easy. Like you can kind of skate by.
Mhm.
Especially with AI now, like you could probably skate by because a lot of it's just writing. A lot of it's writing and reading is most of it. Most of my exams were essay exams. Um, I would have a multiple choice or like a actual exam like from time to time, but I'd say like 7 times out of 10 it was a written exam. Like it was a big research paper or something like that you had to write, and that was your final.
Wow.
And so like you can skate by like with C's and stuff, or maybe even low B's, and get your degree in political science and like pretty easy. And that's why a lot of law students do political science, because it's relatively easy and it's pretty easy to get a good GPA, which is really important for applying to law school. But at the same time, it teaches you a lot of skill. It teaches you a lot of skills that are helpful, at least for me, just writing and reading.
Mhm.
Being able to write and read, and like read literature, like academic literature and stuff like that. And I really dove in. I think I made the most out of it. Like, and I feel, and because I was interested in it, I ended up absorbing a lot more than I would have if I had stayed a business management major and just hated my life. You know, it's really hard for me to engage with material if I don't like it or I'm not interested in it,
I
which I
agree.
think most people are like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that it was kind of that just it was why like I ended with like a 3.9 GPA. Like I had basically all A's, the occasional B. But like that was kind of what got me. That's what got me like to where I am now. Like it's what developed. That major was what developed my political philosophy now, which is kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm like black pilled, but like I'm just so cynical. I'm just so done. I'm just so done with all of it.
Do you think that if you could go back and change things, you would kind of, it's like one of those things where I feel like now I almost know too much, and I kind of wish sometimes that I didn't know as much as I know now.
Never. I
No,
love knowledge. I would never want to have less of that because I think it gives you an advantage.
even though you're more cynical now.
It is what it is. You know.
No, fair enough. That's a good outlook.
Yeah, you can't control what happens. You can only control your reaction. So I still have a great life. Like I'm good. Like I still laugh and I love and I do all the good stuff. But like yeah, like I I don't believe anything anybody says really. I take everything with a grain of salt, and I know that people have agendas, and I know there's a lot of dirty, gross, corrupt people out there. And that's kind of what I focused on. Like what I focused on in college, like most of like I actually did like I did a big it's called a literature review. And it was like kind of like if I were to get a master's degree, like that would be my thesis. Would be it was on corruption in the United States and like how it occurs and like the mechanisms by which it occurs and how people become corrupt. And like, I just kind of like collated all of these papers together and like kind of looked at corruption, and that's kind of like what I focused on. That kind of like framed my whole thinking throughout school and still today, is like corruption and like how that happens and how people get compromised and like conflicts of interest,
Mm-hmm.
following the money, you know, seeing where the money's coming from and who's funding who, and that kind of stuff is so important and can really reveal a lot about people's motives,
So then, in that case, where are you at with JD Vance, and why won't you vote for him in 2028?
Peter Thiel, bro.
Yeah?
Peter Thiel. I mean,
Fill me in, because I feel like you know more about that than I do.
It's so he and I'd have to like, I don't know. I'm not like, it's not something I spend a whole lot of time thinking about, but it's something that I'm fairly confident. Basically, where he comes from. First of all, his name isn't actually JD Vance. Like, first of all, like he literally changed his name. He literally changed his name. I don't even know what it was before. But like, if you're changing, I don't know, that just rubs me the wrong way, first of all. But then the other thing was that he's been bankrolled by Silicon Valley like his whole career. I think he started he met Peter Thiel at Yale at like a seminar or something like that and got connected with him somehow or another. And then he wrote that book, Hillbilly Elegy or something like that.
Have you read it?
No.
Are you going to?
No.
Okay.
No. I just, I know that's terrible of me, but I probably should, but I can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered. But he's basically been, once he got hooked up with Thiel, that was when things started really blowing up for him. And then it was just all of a sudden, like, his political career has not been that long.
No, he was a senator for like one term, right?
You know who else was a senator for one term?
Obama. Yeah.
So like, my theory with the whole thing is like, I think he is a Republican Obama. Like, he is a establishment creation to basically, he's controlled opposition, or he's not even opposition. He's just controlled. Like, if your entire life rests on Silicon Valley billionaires, you're inherently leveraged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's so leveraged. And that's how corruption, that's how you become corrupt, is when you're over leveraged. When you overextend and you over leverage. And that's what and I believe so sincerely that he is over leveraged and he is controlled. And when it comes to making decisions, he can't make them free of his donors. Like, he cannot make decisions that don't align with his donors' interests. Yeah. I don't think he would ever buck the system. I don't think he would ever do anything that would disturb the order that currently exists. And maybe I'm wrong, but like, come on. Really?
Yeah, I mean, the playbook's not really going to deviate from that. Nobody else has bucked the system. Not
even Trump.
No.
We thought he was going to release the files.
Yeah.
Where are the files, bro? They need to be held. That's the other thing. Congress is pathetic because Pam Bondi needs to be held in contempt of Congress. Like now. Like right yesterday. When the Friday, the 19th or whatever that they were supposed to come out, like
I got the files on my desk.
Come on. What is Congress for? Like, this is basic US government 101. It's balance of powers, okay? You have the executive that doesn't want to do something and won't do something, and then you have another branch to balance that out. And you have Congress that literally passes a law to release all of these files, and that you cannot redact based on public embarrassment or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they just completely and then we just get like a bunch of black pages, and it's like you just completely blatantly disobeyed Congress, which is supposed to be the body that controls the law of the land and dictates the law of the land, and you just don't listen. You just don't do it. And then Congress is just like, oh my gosh, like, what do we do? Like, whatever. Like, you are the enforcer. You need to appoint a special master, hold them in contempt of Congress, and hold them accountable. Send somebody to jail. Pam Bondi broke the law. She broke the law. And
I totally agree with you. I mean, I don't understand, but Congress isn't going to hold anybody accountable because how many of them are also compromised the same way?
they don't care. They don't care.
No.
They're focused on their own parochial interests. They want to get elected in the midterms, and that's that, right? And I don't think everybody's like that. Like
Massey's great.
that's who I was about to say is like but also like I gotta take it with a grain of salt though too, because like I don't even know. Like who knows? Like I don't know this guy. Like I don't know.
Touche.
I don't know any of these
Touche.
motherfuckers. I'd like to think Marjorie Taylor Greene is pretty solid too.
Yeah, but didn't she just
Well, she's out.
resign? Yeah.
She was the one of a very few who I thought were halfway decent, and she just dropped out. She quit. She resigned. Now, I think she'll run for president. She says she's not, but I think she will. I think it'd be stupid for her not to.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't considered her as an option.
Yeah, I think she'll make a go for it.
Why do you think that?
It just makes sense.
Really?
She's got a lot, dude. If she ran, like she'd get a lot of support. It would be. I think she'd have a shot. I mean, I think her public support is. I think she's got support on both sides of the aisle. Right? I mean,
I have no idea.
do you like her?
Yeah, I like her. I think she's pretty great. I mean, I wish she wouldn't have resigned because,
I know. We need more people like her.
dude, it feels like every single time I turn around, there's nobody in Congress that I like or can trust, and I'm so sick and tired of the bullshit of like, oh, you have to like vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm like, can we?
I'm done.
Just get
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm
The
fucking
most-
out, dude.
And this makes people freak out, like, and people get mad, like, but like the most powerful thing you can do is not vote. It's called a negative vote, and campaigners and people that work in politics hate it because everybody wants turnout. Turnout is what legitimizes power, right? So like when you vote for somebody, that's legitimizing their position. And the most, and if you have a group of 30 million people that decide not to vote, that's a very powerful statement, right? Like it's dangerous too, right? Because it's like it makes people question your legitimacy. And I'm in a position where I'm just like, look, dude, if you don't have anything to put on the table, if you don't have anything concrete that you're going to deliver, you don't have my vote. What does JD have? What is JD going to deliver? I mean, we
Beats
don't
me.
know. Like, I don't know.
I mean, he hasn't said anything
Hasn't said
publicly. Like, he's
anything.
definitely gonna run, but
that's it. Like, he's the guy. Like, he's chosen. Like, he's the chosen one, dude. Like, he's coming. He's coming. He's gonna be the Republican. That's gonna be the Republican nominee. And MTG could try to run against him or whatever. And I think she should. But yeah, I mean, that's right. And I like Tucker too, but like he's obviously like
he's not gonna run.
No. I'm saying Tucker's trying to get JD. They're all trying to get JD. Everybody's all the establishment is lining up behind JD, and that's their choice, and that's who they're gonna push in there. And that's kind of where I mean that's what Turning Point's doing now. Like Turning Point's kind of shifted now.
Oh boy,
The whole Republican is. Yeah, we can go there too.
Let's go there too. Let's take a quick break though.
Yeah.
We'll come right back. And
That's
nobody
what it
wants
is.
to listen to that shit.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to because like some parts of it you can't hear. Like if you're talking like at a certain volume, like you just can't even make it out.
I know.
And that was what was happening when I was watching your episode the other day. I was like I was just like doing something random and like I kept like not I wasn't hearing what you were saying really.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
It's a battle.
We're like 15 episodes in that are public right now, so
It's a battle.
that's
Well,
okay.
and it'll get you'll get more refined. Like every episode will get a little bit better. You'll learn something new every time. You know?
It's super fun to do. Like
Yeah.
even just doing it.
Well, it's a good hobby for you, and sometimes hobbies turn into careers.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Have you ever gone back and looked at the original like Joe Rogan ones that are
Oh,
in
they're
his
horrible.
basement? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. And like that was, but it's for other things too, though. You could start a pottery. You do pottery, and then like all of a sudden you get really good, and you start selling them, and then like quit your job, and you can just do that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard that saying that well, I guess it's not a saying. Do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
The name rings a bell. Oh, he's the guy with the beard, right? He's the guy that like
Yeah, he's super
acquisition or acquisition.com or something like
jacked.
that.
Something like that.
Yeah, long hair.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, he's got this he talked one time on some podcast somewhere about this this class that was like this class for the semester was just supposed to make one pot and make it the very best pot that they could make, and this other class was supposed to make like 100 pots and just like make them as fast as they could. And the class that did the 100 pots, their pots came out better. And it's just because practice and repetition and all of that. So, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it with like the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and your overhead is not that crazy. I mean, it's really no skin, especially if you enjoy doing it. It's not like, it's not putting you out at all.
No.
Like, you just
it's just time.
something to do.
Lots
But yeah,
of
what else
time.
you gonna be doing? I mean, obviously playing with your kid or doing whatever. But,
Yeah.
But if you enjoy it, then it's okay. Or if you're having meaningful conversations, that seems worthwhile to me at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah.
Well, anyway, back to your point.
Where were we? What were we talking about again?
Something about frickin' the election coming up.
Oh,
everybody's
Turning
getting Turning Point's everyone's getting behind frickin' JD Vance.
JD.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag.
Why?
To me. When the establishment gets behind someone, that's a huge sign, like we were talking about, of being leveraged,
Mm-hmm.
and being compromised in a way. It's kind of cliche to say that, but I don't really. There's not really any other way to say it, And that was one of the things. That's one of the things that I liked about James Fishback was. I think he's willing to take the money, right? Which is good. You need money. You need to get the money. But he makes it very clear that if you give him money, that it's because you believe in him and his decision making, not that it's a quid pro quo.
Right.
Like, oh, I give you this money and then you do this in exchange.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you give me this money and like I'm gonna do my best for the people of Florida, and like that's that. Like, don't come to me with a quid pro quo. I'd be happy to take your money. Like, I'm happy to take your money.
Sure.
But a lot of times what happens is like, and it's all private and it's not really legal. Like quid pro quos like that, like it's not really, it's kind of an ethical gray area. Like you're not supposed to do that. Like that's not something that's supposed to happen. But it just does, right? Like you it's a give and a take, and you give favors and whatever, and it just happens. But like I think that it's important for more and more politicians to start adopting the view that, look, I'll take your money, but you need to be under the understanding that I'm not going to make decisions that are in your best interest. I'm going to make them in the best interest of the public, right? Like in the public as a whole.
Right. That's what it should be.
And you as a business owner or the person who's donating to me should want that too. So by giving me this money, you're you're trusting me to make those decisions. And I don't know. It's just JD doesn't strike me as the type to to have that outlook. I just don't see it. Um,
I did
especially
find
him.
it odd that he was like a never Trumper the first go around, and then all of a sudden he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, and like it's so obvious that it was a political calculus.
Mm-hmm.
You talk shit behind somebody's back, and then when it's advantageous to you, you just flip on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes you think he's not going to do that with anything else? Like, as soon as it's advantageous for him to sell out to Palantir, you think he's not going to do it? Of course he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He's playing the game, and he's playing the game like everybody else plays the fucking game. I get it. You have to, or you have to in a certain sense, but like, just I don't know. You just problem is,
Who do you see coming up on the Democratic side in 28?
I'd say probably Gavin Newsom or AOC.
For sure.
Oh, nothing's for sure.
Well,
You never know.
Yeah.
But I would say Gavin is probably like up there as far as like.
Did you see that he just had Ben Shapiro on his podcast?
Of course. What was that? Did you watch it?
No, I just saw a clip from
I
it.
wonder what the demeanor was, because I feel like Ben Shapiro would hate him.
Did you watch all of the AmFest stuff at Turning Point USA did?
Just clips.
Yeah. Wait, okay, so you originally were a Ben Shapiro guy.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was super smart.
What's your opinion now?
I think he's a sellout. I mean, I think he's funded by the Wilkes brothers, like at Daily Wire. Like he's established. I mean, he's part of the establishment. He's the Daily Wire, like Turning Point, like all that stuff. Like they're all part of the machine, and he is part of the machine, like everybody else. And he'll, he bends with the wind, and he's a super hardcore Zionist, which I do not support. I am not a Zionist, and I don't support any of that. And he seems to care too much about that. I don't. I think he's incredibly rude. I think he's incredibly self-centered. I think he's not as smart as he thinks he is. I think he's unpopular generally, which doesn't really mean anything in and of itself. But I think that there's a reason that people are starting to, kind of turn on him a little bit. I think that what he said about affordability was disgusting. I don't know if you saw what he said about.
Yeah, he said something about you
that, like, you should just move. Like, if you can't afford to live where you live, like, you should just move. Like, you just need to move somewhere that's cheaper. And it's like, dude, it's real easy for you to say, right? Like, it's real easy for you to say in your high castle up there at the Daily Wire, where you just sit and talk all day. Like, you don't even work. You don't really work. I mean,
Yeah.
You work, but you don't really work. Like, you're not a blue collar guy. You're not swinging a hammer for a living. It's really easy for you to say, and you can live where you want because you have money. You can live where you want. But some people, like your family, like, you want to live by your family. It was disgusting. It was disgusting what he said.
Well, and okay, so I'm getting really frustrated with the fact that the annual budget for the government is $7 trillion annually, or 6 or 7. It's close. And by the end of Trump's presidency, with the debt currently sitting at $38 trillion some odd dollars, with the interest is $1 trillion a year, like, we're going to be over $50 trillion by the time 2028 rolls around, which is like complete bullshit, and nobody's thinking about it. And it's just going to, in my opinion, not that educated about it, but I think that that's just going to deflate the value of the dollar. Everything's going to continue to rise, and eventually, like, everything's going to fall apart.
The currency will collapse.
Yeah, it's going to collapse.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. And that's one of the things that, and that was really what I had hoped. I had really kind of hoped that Trump was going to change that, but clearly not. Was going back to smart money. Going back to smart fiscal policy, like real good fiscal policy. and it doesn't seem like there's any interest in that. It's just spend, spend, spend,
You're not
whatever.
spending anything, dude. It's not fucking worth anything.
Well, you're just borrowing, and you're
Printing. It's got
just
to be printing
printing.
too.
Well, what you're doing is what you're really doing is you're really just stealing from the public, because every time you print a dollar, you make the dollar in everyone else's pocket less valuable.
Yeah.
So every time they spend, that's what people need to understand is every time that they pass a spending bill, they are stealing from you. They're stealing from you.
Mm-hmm.
Because any excess, any of the excess money that's spent, like, is all borrowed. Like, none of that is actually earned through all the tax money. That all is allocated. It's all allocated. So anything extra, that's all going to be printed, every single dollar. And so every time, big beautiful bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, that's all of those bills are taking money out of your pocket. They're making your dollar worth less.
And wages aren't going up to offset it.
No, they're not. And so, yeah, like, that's great. Like, and I was excited. Like, I think you could pay off I think if we as a society made a conscious effort and put it higher on the priority list, I think we could pay off the debt relatively quickly. Like, I think we could pay it off in, like, I don't know. And I'm not an economist, but, like, I think we could pay it off in like 10 or 20 years if we really, like, put our heads down and, like, made an effort.
Yeah.
And that's what I was excited about with the tariffs.
I thought that Doge was going to clean up a lot of that bullshit spending that's going to random ass shit, like the Social Security stuff that's going to dead people.
Yep.
And like I don't know how much of it's actually true or not, but all of this alleged fraud that's going on in Minnesota and now frickin' Ohio. Have you seen that? Yeah, apparently it's going on in Columbus, Ohio too.
Like the daycare stuff, or
Yeah.
just like
Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly here because I don't know.
Yep.
But that's what it seems like. And who knows how much fraud's going on in California with the homeless crisis. I looked that one the other night with a friend of mine, and it's nuts, dude.
Disgusting.
Yeah, they spend like $20 billion.
Well, the incentives are not there, because it's like, I heard Rogan talking about that. Was like, it was like, if your job depends on serving homeless people, and then there are no more homeless people, you don't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, what incentive do you have to actually solve the problem?
Yeah, there's no incentive to solve it.
No.
People don't actually care.
It's actually the opposite. It's actually the opposite, because the more homeless people there are, the bigger the budget.
Mm-hmm.
The more you get paid.
Yep.
So, like,
but how long is that going to last if you're going to end up collapsing the country? Because it will do that.
Well, we're in a unique position as do you know who Peter Zion is?
Mm-mm.
He wrote a couple of good ones. It was called the right phone. It's called the Absent Superpower, but then there's another one, like the Absolute Superpower or something like that. One of them he wrote in the early 2000s, and the other one he wrote in like 2016 or something like that. But it's like he's a big geopolitics guy, which is super interesting, like, as a topic, geopolitics, because it kind of, like, combines geography and politics, like, as the name implies, like, kind of how a river affects government, you know what I mean? Or how, like, a mountain range affects whatever, right? And he goes through everything. And, like, one of the big things he talks about is how blessed we are as a country to have the geography that we have. We have the most navigable waterways of any country in the world by a long shot. Like, so the amount of rivers and canals and basically waterways that you can conduct commerce through,
like the Missouri,
like the Mississippi, like the Ohio. Is Ohio River?
Yeah, the Ohio River.
Yeah, et cetera, et cetera. But that has allowed us to thrive in a way that no other country is able to. And obviously, modern technology and logistics, have kind of offset that a little bit, but it gave us an advantage early on
Mm-hmm.
to do commerce in a way that a lot of countries couldn't do. And, that has allowed us to become, our geography has basically allowed us to become a hegemon um, in the world. And so our politicians can really abuse us without all that many consequences, without it being catastrophic,
Mm-hmm.
Like China couldn't have our fiscal policy. They would collapse. Like if China did what we did with their currency, they would their government would collapse. It wouldn't work
Why?
because they're not in the same position as us, like geostrategically. They're sitting right next to Russia. They got obviously they have a different form of government, but they don't have they don't have the natural resources. The they don't have they don't have an ability. They're not they're just not blessed. They're not blessed like we are. You know what I mean? They're just not. And so it's basically the point of it is that, like, we're able to do a lot of things financially that a lot of countries are not able to do, and we're able to do it for a little bit longer. But I don't think that, like you said, I think I don't think it can happen indefinitely. I think it has an end. Like, there's a point at which it's gone too far. The debt is too high.
It's
It's
already
like,
way too high.
yeah, like, and there's a point at which, like, things go really bad. And I don't know when that's gonna happen, and nobody can really say. Um, but I think that, we need to be proactive about it and, like, try to go back to smart money, and I mean, I'd say even go back to, you know, pegging the dollar to gold or something, or like getting back to, or at least just stop printing so much. At least just let's cut the spending. Like let's balance the budget. How about that?
Yeah, nobody would freaking do this in their own lives.
Exactly. Think
Like
about
in
how
your
you
personal
manage it.
life, you'd go to jail.
Exactly. And nobody would lend to you because you're so over leveraged. Like, and the only reason we can borrow like we do is because we have 7 aircraft carriers, and, like, we control the world with our military. And
But that's not gonna last
well,
forever.
but yeah, exactly. It's not gonna last. It's not gonna last forever. And, like, you know, can we just go back to, like, can we just manage the country like we manage a household? Like, you got to balance your budget. You got to balance your bills. You got to figure out, okay, well, these are my expenses. This is how much I'm bringing in. You know, this is how much I need to allocate to my bills, my necessities, and maybe we have a little bit extra for a little bit of fun, a little fun money or whatever.
Oh, hold on.
It's also nice to get a fresh, not that it gets stale or the conversation. I guess you can always find other things to talk about, but sometimes it's nice to have, like, a fresh face around, or, like, talk about something new, or if, like, you bring somebody on that, like, has a expertise about a certain thing and talk about it and whatever. But
Yeah.
um
Sorry, guys. I had a slight hiccup with the camera. I forgot what we were talking about though.
smart money.
Smart money.
Smart money.
Yeah.
Um going back to smart money and fixing our fiscal policy is probably, I would say, it's probably the most important issue of our time. And I'm waiting. If somebody comes and is, like, pitching that, like, that's huge for me. Like, that would be something I'd consider voting for.
Well, I
You know
thought
what I
the
mean?
Doge thing was freaking a great idea, but
I thought
that
it was a great
never-
idea too, but it just didn't. It
Didn't
didn't work
materialize.
out. It was also sloppy. I mean, it just was sloppy the way they did it. Freaking Elon with a chainsaw, like, coming out, like, doing all this dumb shit. Like, it was just like, it was destined to fail. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just like, it was destined to. It gave the left too, like, so much ammo. Like, it was just like, look at this idiot. Like, he's doing ketamine and, like, cutting government funds, and he's killing people. He's literally killing people. And, like, dude, okay, bro, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, but it was
Yeah.
disappointing.
It's a clown show.
I mean, you're right. Like That would have been really cool. I mean, because think about all the waste, fraud, and abuse that happens, and it's just like that's all your money. That's your money that's
Well,
getting
and
wasted.
dude, I don't understand. They never got around to doing the Pentagon, and
The Pentagon's never passed an audit,
nope.
and it
And that money goes missing all the time, and they do spend kind of excessively. Because like I remember this. When I was in the Marine Corps, we would get to a certain point where at the end of, I can't remember if it was fiscal year or months or whatever, but we had to schedule like additional like gun shoots to spend all of the ammo.
oh
Otherwise,
really?
we wouldn't get
You wouldn't get your next round of funding or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah,
So we had to
yeah,
use
yeah.
all of
You're
the
just
ammo and
wasting it
stuff.
too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. So there's a really great movie available for free on YouTube that I highly recommend you watch. It's called Pentagon Wars, and it's about the Bradley fighting vehicle. Have you ever heard of that?
yeah, I know about the
You
Bradley.
remember when we sent a bunch of those to Ukraine?
No, well, I remember hearing about that, but I
So
didn't.
we dumped a bunch of them on Ukraine. And the reason we did, and the movie kind of goes through this, was because it was a garbage product. It was super dangerous
Mhm.
because I can't remember the particulars of it, but it was like basically the ammo was like stored in a horrible place, and like it was super easy if you shot it at a certain spot, like it would just explode, and like everybody would die.
Yikes.
And it carried like a lot of ammo on it
Mhm.
for such a small vehicle, so it was like it was just there was a lot of explosives in this vehicle, and you're sitting as an operator, you're sitting right next to them, and
Yeah, it's
it was
light
a
armor.
lightly armored vehicle, and so like you could penetrate the armor relatively easily, and
Mhm.
it was a horrible design, and this really you should watch it because it's very interesting how projects like this get pushed through, and it's all you know it's all political. It's all like, oh well, we need to we need to come up with it's all like these military contractors colluding with these generals that are trying to basically run game
Mhm.
and like make a bunch of money and like get all these contracts, and like it's absurd. I mean, it's absurd. Like the Pentagon needs to pass an audit. Like they need to be audited and actually be held accountable for you know and I get it, like
Yeah, I mean,
black
okay, if
budgets and stuff, you have like covert operations and stuff like that, but like there needs to be some kind of oversight, man. Like there needs to be like some kind of I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know how you would solve that because then it's like how do you know that the person overseeing is going to do what they're supposed to do? When who's holding the person who's holding them accountable? Who's holding them accountable? I, it's just like I don't know. And but it's horrible because then, you know, it opens I mean, the Pentagon could be the biggest money laundering operation in the world and we wouldn't even know because they can't pass an audit.
and we're never gonna know.
We're never gonna exactly. We're never gonna know because they can't pass an audit. And like it's just crazy. Like it's just nuts. I, I don't know. It makes me sad
Yeah,
because
there's the cynical side coming out.
yeah, it makes me sad. I mean, you gotta just you gotta just do what you can and control what you can. You gotta um, focus on what's in your power, like what's in your circle of influence, and that's it. And the Pentagon budget is not in my circle of influence, so I I stay. I can't do anything about it. I can just bitch and complain, but that's all. Just it is what it is. It is what it is. So
Jeez, so that's a happy note. What do you? Okay, so I've been meaning to ask you about this because I know you have a little bit of a different opinion, maybe than I do.
mhm.
But what do you think about? Have you been watching Candace Owens at all?
Oh, I knew this was coming. I'm
I've been
excited.
waiting to ask
I'm
you about this, man.
excited, dude. I'm excited. Um, so I think, and we discussed this over text briefly, but I think that Candace Owens is a victim of audience capture. I think that I think that she has gone down a road where she is no longer reporting. She's no longer focused on investigating and reporting facts. She has kind of now gone into this kind of like manic episode ever since Charlie Kirk died. She has been going down this like crazy rabbit hole that I think is a result of this like reinforcing cycle of that's what her audience loves it. Like her audience loves the Egyptian planes. Like they love the Fort Huachuca stuff, and they love the hearing about her dreams, like her dreams about Charlie Kirk and like whatever. And it's hard to watch, and it's hard to gain anything out of it because it's all just like conjecture. I mean, it's all just like, I'm just asking questions. Okay, but do you have answers? No. Like and she's been talking about Charlie Kirk like since he died, and like she still has not come to any kind of sort of conclusion. I mean, like she's all over the place, and I just think I don't think it's constructive. I just don't think what she's doing is constructive. I like her. I think she's very talented. She's a really great speaker. I don't know what her intentions are. I hope she means well. I think she has skills. I think she's a skilled broadcaster. I think she reminds me a lot of Megyn Kelly. Even just like the milieu. Like it's just like the way she talks, her cadence, like it's very Megyn Kelly-esque. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I don't know. I think she's been asking a lot of pretty good questions.
Absolutely.
I mean, Tucker Carlson's been staying pretty reserved on the topic, and I'm open to having my mind changed and open to being swayed in one way or the other, depending on whichever way the facts lead. But I don't think that
we don't have the facts.
No, there's no facts,
and we're not going to get.
Probably not. But I don't think that the narrative that's being pushed by the FBI and
you ain't gonna get any answers from Cash. No. Cash ain't gonna give you nothing.
Dude, he kind of looks like he's hypnotized. Those if you look at his eyes,
those
dude,
bug eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, dude, he's compromised. He's compromised. I mean, I don't know how, but
yeah, but I think that Candace is. I kind of think she's brave for asking the questions that she's asking. Maybe she is a little bit out there, maybe, but like how many other people are like really out there too? Tucker Carlson asks a lot of similar questions. I also think that, the public just wants transparency, and it doesn't feel like we're getting any transparency. And like, have you seen that one clip of, I can't remember the guy's name, but there was like some Turning Point guy who was like the number 2 to like
Tyler Boyer?
No, not Tyler Boyer. It was like some kid.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
The little,
yeah.
He was like wearing like the Vineyard Vines stuff. Like he's on a private jet talking about like,
he's like super young. He's like
going on his America tour. He's younger than me.
Yeah.
He's younger than me.
Yeah, but in the video,
he didn't get any traction though. That was a lost cause. No, everybody. I think he's out. I haven't seen him. I haven't run
either.
The circuit. It was pretty quick that he was like,
nope,
he was off.
For me.
Yeah, this
his
wasn't
dad's
working.
Like some pastor, Mikey McCoy. That's who it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, but like the second, like Candace showed this on her podcast, where it was like, I don't know, a couple tenths of a second or maybe a second and a half or something, where like the shot happens and he immediately has his phone up to his head and he walks away. And I'm like, there's just a lot of different things in that scenario that like don't make sense. Like if something like I don't know you super well, but like if something happened to you, my first instinct's not going to be to walk the other way and get on the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
especially if you're standing next to
yeah,
me.
and like
I'd
if
be
you're
fucking running, dude. I'd be freaking out of there. Dude, I'd be like, whoa, like, I'd be ducking for cover. Like, I'd be freaking out.
exactly
Like, but the last thing I do is like make
like an immediate phone call
immediate
within
phone. That's
seconds.
crazy. Yeah. No, I think
I think there's a lot of unanswered questions that don't make sense.
no, and I agree. I agree. And I don't. To be clear, I don't think that the questions that Candace is asking shouldn't be asked. I think she should be asking those questions. It's just if you just keep asking the questions and you never like she has the ability and the connections to get more information than the general public.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem like she's really been getting a lot of that. It doesn't really it seems okay, yeah, you can ask the questions as much as you want, but if we don't come to an answer, if we don't get a conclusion somehow or another, then like what's the point? I mean, you can just keep asking the question. You're not getting an answer, so just why keep asking the question if you're not going to produce some kind of conclusion?
True, but I mean, it's taken us like what 60 plus years to get stuff on the JFK assassination.
We still don't have.
Well, we still don't.
don't.
But does that mean you should stop asking that question though?
Oh, no. No. I think I hear you there. One thing you said that I will push back on is I don't think I wouldn't characterize Candace Owens as being brave. Because do you know who her husband is?
Yeah, he's like some royalty.
He's Turning Point UK. He works for or he was like involved with like Turning Point UK.
Mm-hmm.
He comes from like royalty.
Okay.
He's loaded. I'm not super familiar with his background, but he's the Owens family is fine.
Sure.
You know, like
yeah.
they're good.
I guess what I mean in the sense that she's being brave is that I do think that with some of the questions that she's asking, if you poke the wrong, bear, things could come back to bite you in the ass, and you could end up in the same situation as Charlie Kirk, perhaps. And I don't think that money has anything to do with that, and I don't think connections has anything to do with that either. I think anybody is fair game because Charlie Kirk had a lot of connections in private security and all that stuff. So if that can happen to him, I definitely think it can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
It can happen to you.
That was
me.
what was so scary about the Kirk thing, was that it was like, this is just a guy talking. Like he was just talking, man. Like he was very powerful. He's a very powerful person. But like this is scary because it's like, wow, like they could just kill. And let's be clear, just so we can be on the same page.
Sure.
I don't think Tyler Robinson killed him.
I don't either.
Now I don't know how this trial is going to go. I know it's still in progress. They've kept a lot of it private.
For Tyler Robinson either. I don't know either way.
No, I mean he's obviously an idiot for being in the situation that he was. I also don't think he was left wing. I think he was a groiper, personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What's a groiper? Just for people out there that don't know.
Well, basically, I don't want to say like Nick Fuentes followers, but like kind of Nick Fuentes followers, like people that are. It's a certain brand of conservative politics that is very extreme, very misogynistic, very most groypers are like chronically online, like very like
so like keyboard warrior type
keyboard warrior, like
right.
very deep on 4chan, whatever, like really extreme. And they're not really even like conservative in the traditional sense. They're almost like fascist almost. They're like close to that. Which, whatever. I mean, you have the right to that. You have the right to that opinion. I mean, I don't agree with it, but there's a subculture within the groiper movement, if you want to call it that, that hates women so much that they are willing to that they're trying to think how to describe it. Femboys are not out of the question within the Groyper movement or whatever. Like there are certain factions of Groypers that like are so deep into this that like they can have like these like quasi gay relationships with these like femboy. Like basically what I'm saying is that it's not out of the question that you could have a Groyper that has a transgender boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Like
Interesting.
It's not like unprecedented.
So this almost sounds like you go so far right that you just
Yeah,
came back
it's
around
like a
to the
horseshoe,
left,
right?
dude.
It's like a horseshoe, you know, like you go so far right that you're actually left, and it's like this. I actually have a theory.
Oh, this will be
That
good.
I have a theory that Nick Fuentes is actually a closeted homosexual.
You're probably not the first person to say that, because didn't
I don't
Tucker
think so.
ask him that?
No, it's I'm not original in that thought, but it's something that I didn't consider until kind of like recently. Because you kind of listen back, because I watched a full episode on Tucker.
Oh,
and,
of him and Nick.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And he just like when you listen to him talk, like you can tell that he doesn't spend a lot of time around women. Like he doesn't.
He's,
Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he does. You could tell like he's like he doesn't. It's clear that he does not interact with women, nor does he like women very much. It doesn't strike me that he likes women very much.
maybe. I don't know. He he's a funny guy.
And I don't even know. He sounds like he's never even had sex before.
He hasn't.
That's what
he's publicly said that. He said that.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah, he said that on Piers Morgan, that he was like a virgin. But he had a good argument on that, as far as like following. In my opinion, he had a good argument. Yeah, like that's what his religion says, and so he's gonna follow that, and you kind of gotta respect him for that one.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm definitely not endorsing him or anything like that.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to stay objective.
Well, and now Tucker and Candace are beefing with him. I don't know if you kind of followed that.
Well, I knew Candace was beefing with him for a long time, but
not that long. I mean, it's kind of been. I mean, it's been
it's
relatively.
It's virtually impossible for me to keep up with everything that's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that Nick Fuentes has tapped into something that the powers that be really do not like. I don't like Nick Fuentes either. I think he's kind of an idiot personally. But I think that he's just like Candace. He's very skilled. I think he's a pro, like in terms of broadcasting. Like he's
very
he never
intelligent.
stutters. He's very articulate. Like he's pretty logical, and he says what most people couldn't say. Like he says out loud like what a lot of people wouldn't say publicly.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot of the appeal to his audience is his willingness to
say the thing
that.
that's not allowed.
And one of those things that's not allowed is he criticizes JD. He's what he said about JD was spot on. There's a clip floating around somewhere of his rant on JD, which I don't watch his show. I just see the clips that come out. But he was talking about JD and talking about Teal and stuff like that, and I was like, dude, you're spot on, bro. Like and he's got. I mean, everybody's got correct ideas. I have correct ideas, but I also have wrong ideas. I think he's got correct ideas. I think he's got wrong ideas.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
And I think he totally has the right to say whatever.
It's a free country.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not a huge fan. I don't like them. I sound like a liberal, but like I don't like the misogyny, dude. I just don't like. I feel like the way he talks about women is just like he just treats them as like nothing. Like he especially what he said on Tucker was just like it was just like a lot. I was like, dude, really? Like that's a lot. Like that's a lot, man. Like I don't know of any woman that would agree with what you're saying. It's like it's almost like dehumanizing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
yeah, I mean, you're entitled to say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's the right thing to say either.
Well, but I don't see how you having that view. I don't see any woman that would agree with that, and I don't think a lot of men would either, because it's like it's kind of like depressing. Like if you, like, yes, men and women have different roles, right? But
Mhm.
it's not that one controls the other, right?
Yeah, it's a
It's a
partnership.
partnership. It's a 50-50 partnership. You know, it's not that like you run the house and like the woman does what you say and like whatever. It's just like no, like it's a give and a take and the division of labor and like different roles, different biology.
Yeah, you're a team,
Yeah, and it seems like he doesn't think that. It seems like he thinks it's like
which could come from the lack of experience with women.
exactly. That's my thing, right? It's like it's clear to me when I hear him talk that he doesn't interact with a lot of women. I mean, it's clear that he doesn't, and it doesn't seem like he likes women. It doesn't seem like he likes them. Like if you liked women, like I don't think you would say that. I don't think you'd say stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. Especially if you're a Catholic. If he's an outspoken Catholic, he'll never come out of the closet. We'll never know. I mean, we might hear about it in there, but if he's a committed Catholic, I mean, like,
Who knows?
you're gonna have. I don't know. I don't know.
Guess we'll find out in the future, though.
We may.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me, man.
appreciate this.
Thanks for
This has
having me.
been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a good time. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.